Hello and welcome to the Bentleigh Report. It is May 2021. My name's Gary Peer.
I'm Leon Guzenfitter.
You are indeed, and we're here to talk all things Bentleigh and beyond, if we like.
Yeah.
But let's just talk about Bentleigh, what's going on in the market there, Leon. Things are pumping. How's land going? How's apartments going? How's townhouses going? What's going on in the Bentleigh market?
Well, the first thing you touched on, I think we've been speaking about it for a long time, land
Yep.
in Bentleigh, East Bentleigh, Ormond McKinnon. It is just, the demand is so great. There's very few offerings that go to the market that don't have multiple people interested. And if we go a little bit out of order, to give a bit of a summation of how that's going, is the sale we had a couple of days ago to 120 East Boundary Road.
That's a great case study, and you know, I know you've got some information around means and medians, and I think sometimes means and medians can be a bit deceiving because often it reflects the type of properties that are sold and not necessarily the growth in price. And
East St Kilda always drops in the middle of the year because no
Yeah.
period homes go to market, and then
Well,
it
that's
sharp
right.
goes up to the market.
So look how much it's gone up in Elswick, for example, a
Yeah.
great suburb where you'll get a burst of beautiful homes in spring, and then you'll have a few apartments, and they'll say, "Oh, the median plummeted or went
Yeah.
up." So I think it's important to know that the best assessment of the market, or the best way to view the market, is what did a property, X property, sell for then, and what did the same property sell for now? That is the best barometer, I believe, of how prices are growing. And East Boundary Road is a perfect example because it went up for auction on Saturday. It had sold for $1 million. And
Well, there was a sale of $1 million to another agency.
Yep.
Middle of the year last year.
Yep.
It fell over.
Yep.
Something happened with the finance, or they let it go.
Yep.
And then we got appointed.
Yep.
And in about 5 days, I found a buyer for it. We got $1,050,000.
Yep.
And the owners were wrapped.
Yep.
Until the second day after we sold it, with a buyer also in a nervous time. We were around that August lockdown time, pulled out as well. And then the owners took it to market this year.
Yep.
And lo and behold, 5 bidders and the final price,
1283, if I'm not mistaken.
$1,283,000.
So that's about a 25, 23, 25. I mean, from the $1 million, we know it's 28%.
yeah.
And I suppose if you take the next figure, it must be still over 20%. So
Yeah.
that's a very, very clear. I mean, you could just say, look, it's just about a Gary Peer auction. They all go up by 20%. You could say that and give ourselves all the credit. But the reality is, maybe we'll take some of it. But the reality is that the market has moved significantly, and also the waiting market. You know, I think for those people that aren't auctioning, yes, it's convenient. Yes, you can save some money that way. There's no question. You may know what it will save you, but you'll never know what it will cost you. So I think sometimes there's a very compelling good reason to auction. I mean, we sell things privately and by expression of interest.
All the time.
However you want to sell it. But you know, there's some properties that are classic auction properties that can really get the best price that way. And this is a good example.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, that's a fantastic increase. So does that, if you applied that and just took a blanket approach and say, okay, let's just push that over the whole suburb, put a blanket over the whole of the suburb, would that be kind of typical of what's going on?
Absolutely, absolutely. And
20% up?
And not to remind you, Gary, when I was telling you to buy these sorts of properties at about $880 to $900
Not
at
to
the
remind
end
me,
of
but he's going to.
2018.
He's going to, yes.
I think East Bentleigh is up about 30, 35, 40% in about 2.5 years.
Amazing.
And if you were lucky enough to be rezoned to that McKinnon Secondary School zone, you're up 50% in 2.5 years.
Is that right? As much as
that? That's a terrific return.
Well, good luck to all of the Bentleigh residents. Sorry for those people that have to buy in now and have to pay a bit of a premium, but have faith. You know, yesterday we sold a property, I should say yesterday, Sunday, we sold a property. It was sold to some people on Bamborough Road who were bought in East Bentleigh, and we're seeing a lot of that now too. We're seeing a lot of that sort of pollination of buyers moving across from Caulfield, Caulfield South, smaller homes, wanting to get something a bit more luxurious or with a bit more land. So, and they've said, oh, we'll call you next time around. We'll speak to Leon. We want to sell in the years to come. So there certainly is a lot going on in terms of buyers moving into the area. It's very exciting. Some people might want to know what's going on with prices before we go in there. What's happening down Centre Road? Because you live and breathe Centre Road.
We do.
You go there to your office every day. What can you tell me?
This construction, I mean, except for the fact there's a lot of traffic now and a lot of roadworks preventing you to cut through Centre Road, which means things are evolving.
More stuff's happening.
And more stuff's happening.
There's never a greater sign of progress than a crane, or
and big cranes, you know, and even when we go down Centre Road, and there's now 6, 7, 8-story apartment buildings being built, which it makes sense because there's great shopping and transport options right at your doorsteps. If you're going to develop, you might as well develop where people can get in and out very easily. And any of those streets just off Centre Road, when you do your cut through, you're running between opens. It's very hard to go through a street and not see one construction site per street of a dual occupancy or something a bit more, maybe 3 to 6 on a block. You're literally going around and just building sites everywhere.
It's a very exciting time, and it looks like there's not too many vacancies. I mean, when you think about retail got smashed, but you go up and down Centre Road, I mean, I'm not saying there's nothing vacant, but very few vacancies, I would have thought. That strip's always been a hot strip, and it doesn't change. So you go up and down Centre Road, you see the occupancy of buildings, you see there's cafes. I had a fantastic, went to a great Middle Eastern themed place on Centre Road, not too far from East Boundary Road. I'm not sure what the name of it is.
You keep going to these places, not forgetting, you don't remember what they're called,
I know,
Gary.
Daniel took me there, it was fabulous. So, you know, there's so many great eateries. Well, we're discovering them all the time. There's so many of them.
And you know what, Gary, they're improving. Like, there was an old $2 type shop across the road from where our office is, on the corner there. And it was a bit of an old dingy shop, and it closed at the end of last year. And the fit out, they've put in a bottle shop there now. And the fit out, I mean, I don't know what it costs, but it's a multi-$100,000 fit out. It looks unbelievable. So all these places, not only are they getting better in terms of the quality of the shops, but the actual fit outs and the investment they're putting in for the next 10 to 20 years is fantastic. So
if you're looking to invest or buy or upgrade or move, keep your eye on Bentleigh and East Bentleigh and surrounds, because McKinnon, you know, it's all happening. Let's talk about some of the things that are going on, just some of the actual sales that have happened. I know there's been a few sales of a few properties that were quite similar in nature. Do you want to just review some of those?
So we're having a lot of success selling one of two on the block, where it could be the traditional, the original family home that in later years has had a subdivision and another unit's been built in the back. Bentleigh and East Bentleigh are quite well known for that. There's a lot of that happening with a lot of really good sized regular blocks. We've had an opportunity to sell 3 of them in the last month, and we've got another one that goes to the market this weekend.
Yes, I've been the auctioneer for a number of those.
I've had some fun. And you know, that's now becoming the family home for a young family, because you know, if I look down in my little cheat sheet here, the median sale price for Bentleigh now, the median house sale price is $1,678,000.
That's plenty, isn't it?
That's plenty.
Even though we've just gone and bagged what the medians were about, but actually that is a meaningful
that gives
figure.
an indication that, you know, not everyone can afford $1,678,000. So these properties that we've had at 29 Dager Avenue in Bentleigh East, which sold at $1,049,000. Then we had 93 Mortimer Street, also the front 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom home of 2, sold for $1,020,000. And we had an outstanding auction in Brook Street a couple of weeks ago, where again the front home of 2 on about 364 square metres of land. While the price undisclosed was probably closer to 1.1 than it was to $1 million. So now that's what you're paying for half a block of land with a reasonable home on it, which still could be improved.
Well, I know I do a lot of auctions in Bentleigh, as does Simon Rodolnik and Philip and all of us do. But whenever I jump in my car and I'm going down to Bentleigh or Bentleigh East to auction, I've always got a spring in my step. I think this is great. I'm selling good real estate. I'm selling to somebody who's made money and someone who's going to make money. And people who are enjoying living in the area as well.
It feels like it's still moving up.
Absolutely. Leon, we've also had the pleasure of representing some of the vendors who own the finest homes in the area, and that's been a great thrill to sell some of the top-end properties. We talk about the property on Leinster Avenue. You want to share a little bit about that with us?
Yeah, 22 Leinster Street, Ormond, had 5 bidders, and this is roughly a 10-year-old double-storey modern family home, sold competitively for $2,520,000. Which is, you know, it's a lot of money, but not a big deal anymore, especially in that McKinnon Secondary School zone. So that was one of the highlight sales for the postcode for the last couple of months.
Viewers, you're going to see a lot more going up in that sort of 2.5 to 3, and you're going to see some north of $3 million sales coming through in and around Ormond, McKinnon, Bentleigh. That's going to keep happening. There's also another prestige sale we did. I think the price is undisclosed, but that's the McKittrick Road in Bentleigh. Do you want to tell us a little about that?
Yeah, look, that took a couple of weeks after the first auction to sell. But we often find there are a bit less buyers in the really upper ends, and there is in that chunky sort of $1.5 million range, more around that median. That sold in the vicinity of $2.25 million, which, you know, again, used to be a big deal in Bentleigh. That was outside of that McKinnon school zone, but a very strong price for a beautiful family home. It
wouldn't be an episode of GPTV Bentleigh or the Bentleigh Report without a sale in Hill Street. That's a street that we've just made our own, haven't we? I mean, you go down that street, there's just one board after another. So if you're living in Hill Street, welcome. and thank you for the opportunity to have sold for you or to you, because it's a great address. Tell us a little about the townhouse there.
Yeah,
5 at 33.
so that was completing a development of 8. That I think we've now sold out the whole development, and that's a really good development. All priced around $1 million, which is probably that size up from the apartment market, but not quite at that double story side by side on 300 something, which we're going to get into next.
Yes.
But yeah, we've now sold out that development at 33 to 35 Hill Street. So 8 more Hill Street sales done.
And what is the sort of level? I mean, you would think a side by side, I mean, like a blink ago, they were 1.3 to 1.4. Is that still what you have to pay, or do you have to pay a bit more now?
We've got to pay a bit more, and you're probably leading into 13A Mullane Street, which Jack Slater from our organisation has sold. Now, that sold for $1,950,000, and that wasn't brand new. It was about 18, 24 months old.
Incredible.
Again, in that McKinnon school zone. And the interesting thing is that we didn't get the opportunity to sell the brand new the other side, which sold for, I believe, $1,450 about 2 years ago when it was brand new. So there's an increase of about 33% of the price from the left to the right, which again just shows how much demand there is for that zone and for that style of living.
Incredible. Let's go through some of our offerings if we can. Let's start off with 3 that go off this weekend.
Mervyn's exactly one of those, one of 2 on the block. Price around $1 million. Then we've got $950,000 to $1,045,000 in that, Gary. John has been handling all of these actually. So John's a bit of, if you've got 1 or 2 on the block in that East Bentleigh area, around that $1 million to $1.25 million, John's the guy that's got the bag of buyers well and truly down pat. So that goes to auction this weekend. Should go well.
Yep, fair enough.
2 at 11 Clinton Street, Gary, is a ground level, really beautifully renovated property with 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and 2 off-street car spaces, and marketed sub $1 million, which I think is a very popular price range for the area.
Whitmill Road?
Well, if we get the facade behind us, I'm sure we do on the screen, Gary, it's one of the best looking town residents we've had to bring to the market for a while. It's a bit unique because it's not a side-by-side, it's on a corner development. So if you are looking for townhouse living with that sort of land size, around that 1.6 to 1.7 mark, this is one of the best ones I've ever seen.
Saturday week we're offering Shanahan Crescent. Jan Doson's handling that. Great looking property.
Yeah, and she's obviously a big expert in that McKinnon Secondary School zone. Yep. This property in excess of 800 square metres of land, already had very strong interest, like all of the land offerings in the McKinnon area are having, and that will be somewhere in that low $2 million range. So if you are looking for a big block to do something bigger than the traditional 1 of 2, or 2 side by side, 2 Shanahan Crescent's a really good opportunity.
Love the look of this property in Castlewood Street. Tell us a little bit about that one, Leon.
Yeah, again, this is becoming really one of the suburbs' most sought after, but also common in terms of style of property. The traditional side-by-side, 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom. This is really becoming the modern family home in that East Bentleigh area, and should have a lot of interest in that 1-3 range.
Look, we've got lots more to go through, but we don't want to be here all day.
No, we don't.
Let's talk about Balmoral Avenue, Bentleigh, because I think that's a special property. I'll finish off with that if we can.
Yeah, and again, this is a great opportunity if you want to be in that McKinnon school zone and you don't have somewhere around that $2 million mark. This is going to be more around that $1.25 million mark, and this is a double-story modern townhouse, not brand new, but in really nice condition. And literally just walked into the street, and you'll see the McKinnon Secondary School McKinnon Secondary School appear. And I think this would be very popular because there'd be a lot of families trying to get into that range to get into that school. An
experienced agent and somewhat of a real estate icon, Lamore Herskovitz, handling that, and I think Jeremy Rosen is coming to auction it. So again, all of our offices are servicing and helping each other. So we've got the Carnegie office bringing buyers across and bringing the sellers through, and St Kilda and Caulfield, and of course Murrumbina, the Thompsons team, and everybody from there as well.
One big happy family,
It
Gary.
is one big happy dysfunctional family, I don't mind saying, but somehow we seem to work really well together.
We do.
To bring our clients the best possible outcomes and results and service experience on the way through, somewhat of a commercial there. Leon, it's an exciting time to be an agent, and an exciting time to be an agent in Bentleigh and surrounds, because there's so much going on. It's a wonderful time.
It is.
And we will continue to make hay while the sun shines. If you're thinking of selling or buying in and around, or maybe you've got an investment you want to rent out, we'd love to help you with that as well. Or if you're looking for something to lease, speak to Leon. He's the guy. Speak to anybody at our company. We can direct you and help you in all things Bentleigh and surrounds as we wrap up the Bentleigh Report, May 2021. Good to see you, Leon.
You too, Gary.
And we look forward to seeing you next time.
Absolutely.
As we wrap up, getting into a winter. What do you think is going to happen?
I think it's just going to balance out a little bit. We're feeling like maybe it's balancing out.
Yep.
in the same breath, the week before last, across 140 local auctions, we had an 86% clearance rate. So it's not plummeting, but I do think as vendors' expectations are coming up with the new prices, we are going to balance out. But I still think, especially for homes, there's a lot of demand, and this will continue going, especially while the rates are low.
I think you might be right. That's a big update on GPTV Bentleigh. I'm Gary Peer.
I'm Leon Guzenfitter.
We'll see you next time.